Hi, good evening. I am Dr. T. R. Saravanan, Associate Professor, SR Institute of Science and Technology, Katangattur. Now we are going to see about object-oriented programming fundamentals. You all know that many things you are studying, everything you say is object-oriented programming, but we are here to explain this as a clear what is the difference between various object-oriented concepts. Because everyone know what is that, define, that is alone known. But the comparison is not known. Why it is used, what are the real-time applications, those things are not known. So only we are planned to give this as an course. Next one is object-oriented programming concepts. There are many object-oriented programming concepts. Actually, what is the need for these object-oriented programming concepts? What was the previous functionalities of this object-oriented programming concept? Now, object-oriented programming is a mechanism in which we can go for object and classes. It only focuses on data and object. Okay. Now we are saying the data and object. What was the previous mechanism what we are having? Because we know that from C++ we say it is an object-oriented programming. But what was the previous languages to C++? It can be Pascal, it can be C or any other programming language. Those languages are called as non-object-oriented programming or procedural programming. In procedural programming, we had only function and procedures. And everything is based upon the functions. One thing when you are going to consider is comparing the security, the procedural program is less secure. And reusability of the code is very much limited. And we are going to difficult to modify the program. The size of the program is very much limited. So only basic level functionalities alone can be performed. The example for those languages may be C, Pascal, Basic, and Fortran. Because these are the challenges what we found in a procedural programming. As number of days increases, securities needs to be provided, reusability of the code needs to be provided, real world monitoring needs to be there. So only we went for new languages, that is Java, C++, C#, or Python. These are the various languages comes under object-oriented programming. Now, in the object-oriented programming, we concentrate only on data and objects. How the data are going to represent? We are going to represent in terms of variables. And here, we can modify our codes, you can reuse our codes. But you can say that, what is the meaning of these objects, classes? There are many functionalities in object classes, abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. These are the basic questions asked in interviews. Now we can say, what is object? Object in Java is an instance of a class. Now we can say that what is available here as own state and behavior. Own state is nothing but it is a mechanism of representing as a variable. What is variable? Variable is a container which can store some values. A can store 100, 200. Size in which we can store based upon the data type. For example, we can say the integer is considered as a small bag and double is considered as a big bag. Small bag you can store place only some amount of info. And big bag you can place some more amount. Similarly, in an integer is similar to a small bag, which we can say that the storage size is very minimal. Double can be said as a similar to big bag, the storage can be maximum. And now we are going to create an object. This is the way in which object is created. Class name, object name, new class name. Here new is used for allocating the memory for the object which is created. These objects are runtime entities alone. What is the meaning of the term runtime entities? Runtime entities, nothing but it executes or the functionalities during runtime alone. We are writing a program, doing the program in the main function you'll be creating object, but it has no functionality there. Only object activates during runtime alone. Here, car is the car class name, car1 is the object name, and memory is allocated, memory is created for car. The car1.color equal red means car1 is the object, it dot operator dot color is nothing but the color is the variable. That is nothing but the data variable and assigned with value red. Car1 dot speed is nothing but speed is a variable assigned with value 120. Now we can create n number of objects. Car1, car2, car3, car4, any number of objects can be created. Now, when you are going for implementation of a car as a class, it can create 5 objects. Example, each object can store different values. Each object can perform different functionalities. Now, this is a class. Class is a blueprint or template that defines classes with the data and methods. Here, this is called as the variable and this is function. Function is called referred as method in Java. Now, object is going to access the methods inside the class. Here, what we have to mainly understand is once the class is created, it can be used to reuse by creating many objects because these methods can be reused with the help of multiple objects. Let us consider x1 is the object 1, x2 is object 2. X1 can use this method for some functionalities or some data storage. X2 can use the same method for some other functionalities. And here, you asked me a question, what is the basic need? Here, to improve maintainability, if any changes are needed, they can often be placed in one place and all the objects created from the class benefit with the updates. Now, you can see an example program. This is an example program for a class. Public class student. These are the various instance variable. Now, another question arises, that is, what is meant by the term instance variable? Because you are saying that the name as instance variable. What is the meaning of the term instance variable? When you are going to say about the term as instance variable, we should be very clear that every object of the student gets its own copy of these variables. Now, when you are going to say about methods, methods are similar to the functions. When methods are going to be said as a functions, here we have display as a function. Here we have variables as name and age. Main method is also available. What happens here? String is going to be given. String stores the student names and age stores the age. Method displaying the content which is received as an input in the string and integer variables. And now how the execution starts? Execution starts from the main function, and the file name should be saved as student.java. Execution starts from here. The object is created. This memory allocation is done for the object. After student and object is created, comes to the next line. Student.name. Student1.name in the sense student1 is the object created for student, and student1.name in the sense it is the object created for the class student. Then student1.name refers that the variables created for student, and age is the variable created for the student. Now you are going to assign the values John for name and age equal to 20. You assign the values. Display details, which means that the display function is called because object is used for accessing the variables and executing the functions available inside the class. Student1.display, this display function will be executed and the values stored John and 20 will be displayed. The way of execution is given as javac file name.java. Java compilation is done here. A class file will be generated. Student, a class file will be generated, and you are executing the class file as Java student, and the output will be retrieved. In other languages, we are not going to have any class files. Here, class file will be generated. So that only we say that as Java is platform independent, because class file can be used in any platform, so that execution can be done in any other platforms. So only we say that it is platform independent. Now we can go for the next. Both two are basic concept. Now the issues arises for the students when we are going for any questions related to encapsulation and any questions related to abstractions. We should be very clear the term called as instance variable. Instance variable are variables that are declared inside the class, but they are declared outside the methods. Now, encapsulation in the sense, we are going to say encapsulation as a process of wrapping up a data and function in a single unit. You may ask me a question, what is the need for wrapping up a data into a single unit? Because it improves security, prevents unauthorized access, debugging will be very easier, better code organization will be there. We can see about the real-time application in the next slide. After seeing encapsulation, we can see what is the functionality of encapsulation, what is the functionality of an abstraction in a single real-world application. Now, when you're going to say about the terms encapsulation, you are using private variable to protect data. And here, we are going to see about the term as abstraction. Abstraction hides the independent implementation details and show only essential features. But from this statement, you can have a misconception that are you extracting the information stored in the encapsulated data? It's not the process of extracting the data. Abstraction is a process which hides the implementation details and provide only essential functionality to the user. Now we can come to a explanation based upon real-time example. Why we are studying this course is because everyone knows this definition of encapsulation, everyone knows the definition of the abstraction. We should be very clear with what is the difference between encapsulation and abstraction with the real world example. You can consider a TV remote. The buttons on the remote are used for accessing the channels. That is called as abstraction. We don't know what is the electronic circuit available inside. The electronic circuit inside the remote are encapsulated, hidden, and that process is called as encapsulation. And so in the TV remote, what we can see only the numbers. Pressing the number, it goes to a respective channel. That is called as abstraction. We are fetching the necessary details alone. Encapsulation is nothing but what are the functionalities needed for running the electronic circuit board. Everything will be wrapped up as a single unit, and what are the functionalities available inside is not known to anyone. Abstraction interfaces with the encapsulated data and provides the needed information alone. And we can see about the applications. These are the various applications. Simply, I can say that ATM machine, I can read out and I can leave. I am not going to say that. We can see in each application what is encapsulation and what is abstraction. In ATM machine, what can be encapsulation and what can be abstraction? In ATM machine, account balance and PIN data are stored as a private data because that is user information. Private information. Those private information are called as encapsulated data. And abstraction is a mechanism is wherever you are going, you are publicly viewing what you are going to show, what you are going to withdraw, what you are going to do. Because amount alone is going to be entered as a physically viewable mechanism. The customer name and what are the account details and those things information will not be provided explicitly. User can see only option like withdraw, deposit and balance inquiry alone. Those are called as abstraction. Next, we can say about an online banking. Online banking is nothing but customer details, password and account information. Everything is encapsulation. Because we don't know what is the background process is done. Because we are transferring the fund. It can be IMPS or something, whatever the scheduling mechanism. It can be any NEFT transfer or RTGS transfer, whatever mechanism, what we are selecting. Those selection processes called as abstraction. What are the background process done? The data are there fetched and it is given, and the data are transferred to third party apps, other bank transfer. What are the basic process, a background process done? Those things are not known to a user. Those informations are called as encapsulation. This is the way the programming is done. So when you are going for online banking system, both encapsulation is done and abstraction is done. Abstraction is done for user viewability or user interface. The background process will be done with the help of encapsulation. Next, the student management system. In a student management system, you are going to have a payment detail or customer details, whatever the case. You are going to see about students. In this, student marks and personal information are kept to private. And teachers are going to access. They will be able to see only the student marks. And multiple subjects are there. Respective staff can see the respective subject marks alone. They can enter subject marks alone. They can view the attendance or results of the subjective student marks in their logins. but the student can view everything. His information is made private and it is not viewable to everyone. E-commerce application. You are very familiar with the e-commerce, Amazon, Flipkart. But product intermediary details are the payment details, or how it is processing, where it is going to be there, where it is available, where the data are going to be taken. Every information are going to be hidden. User can only searching the products, placing the products. They don't know what is the back-end operations done. Even though status is updated only after that, they don't know what is the back-end operation, what is going to be done, where it is going to fetch, and what are the availability, how much is available. They can say whether it's available or not. They cannot see how much is available. Those informations are called as encapsulation. They can view the product and they can fetch the product. They can purchase the product. Next, hospital management system. And all the data on the billing details are available only with the payment section alone. Doctor cannot view what is the how much bill they have paid or what are the medical records of them. Those informations are secured. Only for appointment booked patient alone, those details will be enabled. Simply, doctor cannot sit and view all the patient records. If a doctor is appointment is booked for the patient, the particular specialist doctor needed details alone will be provided as an access limitation. Those informations are called as abstraction, and all the medical records and all the history details of the patient will be available, and that is called as encapsulation. Those are secured. Mobile banking applications, PIN, password, OTP, all informations are protected. Google Pay is available. Google Pay is going to access the bank servers, but Google Pay has no access to the giving the profile of your customer. They are linked with the bank. It will not give the information about what is the detail of your customer, where the account is maintained, or where the details of the SWIFT number, or nothing will be provided in the Google Pay. It is an interface to access the bank, a third-party interface for fund transfer, third-party interface for performing those functionalities. Next, riding booking apps, Ola, Uber. Here, driver information from where, what is their address details, and how many number trips they have taken, and trip data, everything will be stored securely. Only driver can access, but users can simply book the drives, track their drives for their respective drive alone. They cannot see the entire day trips given by the driver. They can see their own trips alone. The booking history will be very clear, specific to the user alone. Those information are called as abstraction. The driver information and payment details will be called as encapsulation. Library management system. In library management system, the book database and member information are protected. But when a person comes to fetch the book, they will be fetching the book. But they cannot access how many books are pending or who has fetched the same book previously. Those informations are not available. So, student access is called as abstraction. The previous information or data of the book or previous history or how many available stock, those informations are called as encapsulation. Employee payroll. Here also, the salary or tax or employee records, everything will not be accessed by the HR personnel. The salary, tax, every calculation will be done by the accounts department. HR generates salary slip. They don't have idea about the calculation logic. So HR performs the functionality of abstraction. Accounts department performs the functionality of encapsulation. We has explained these many things here. These are the various applications which are incorporated with encapsulation and abstraction. But many of you are not clear what is the role of encapsulation and what is the role of abstraction in each application. Next one is food delivery. Food delivery in this is customer address, payment details, and restaurant data are secure. This is encapsulation. Customer address is not given to any persons publicly without booking appointment, booking an order. And payment details from which bank, where they are doing, those information are secure. Similarly, for the customer point of view, the restaurant data will be secure. How much of food is available, what is the food available, that can be viewed alone. How much of food is available and how much will be the food quantity served by the restaurant, those information will not be available to the customer. User will be browsing the menus, placing the order, and delivering person alone has access to deliver to a current location alone. They don't have any other access. Thus, such access restriction will be called as abstraction. Customer address, payment detail, and restaurant data, everything will be available with the server and that will be secure. These are the various applications of encapsulation and abstraction. Now, when you're going for interview process, what can be the question asked here? Encapsulation, we are going to say about what is need for encapsulation. Encapsulation is a mechanism you are going to protect the data using some private variables. And how abstraction can be performed? Abstraction can be performed using abstract classes, interface, and it hides the complexity. We don't know what is done in the background. Only what we need, that is alone provided. That is called abstraction. And what background process does, that is done perfectly by protecting the data or not providing information to others. That is called as encapsulation. Now, I think it is so clear with the concepts of application of encapsulation and abstraction. We can see about the remaining object-oriented programming concepts in the next slide.